The unbreakable wall versus the unstoppable force, Switzerland versus Qatar 2026. Welcome to the Explainer. Look, today we're breaking down a classic clash from the 2026 FIFA World Cup group stage. This game, it was a gripping battle of absolute tension and pure explosive release. It wasn't just a match, you guys. It was a gritty, grinding collision right up until the final whistle. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Just take a look at that vibrant sea of red. You can see the pure elation on the faces of the Swiss players. And, the crowd is just absolutely roaring. You can practically feel the highest stakes atmosphere of the 2026 World Cup radiating off the pitch. Every single pass, every heavy tackle, every referee's call, it all carried the immense weight of a nation's hopes. How did a grueling physical battle turn into one of the most dramatic finishes of the 2026 World Cup? That's the core question guiding us today. Because really, we're looking at a match defined by sheer attrition and tactical stalemates that suddenly, out of nowhere, pivoted into a stunning last-minute twist that left everyone completely breathless. The opening battle, grinding for control. The early stages here, well, they weren't exactly beautiful, free-flowing football. It was a methodical, intensely physical chess match. Both teams were just desperate to establish dominance. Switzerland tried to string together possession, grabbing some early throw-ins, but Qatar countered with this incredibly organized, disciplined defense. It was a cautious stop-and-start rhythm, endless throw-ins, goal kicks, free kicks. Honestly, neither side was willing to give an inch. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is you can literally see the massive physical toll of that grueling first half. Look at the players grabbing that much-needed hydration break. The sheer intensity is just etched into their faces. Exhaustion set in super early. We even saw Qatar's Pedro Miguel go down briefly and need attention before getting back in there. Qatar's frustratingly organized defensive wall was just forcing Switzerland to work incredibly hard for every single yard. It was turning into a total battle of endurance. Mahmoud Abunada returns. VAR review. Abunada receives yellow card. Embolo converts penalty. Okay, let's walk through this timeline because the escalation is so sudden. Qatar's Mahmoud Abunada recovers from a knock, gets back on the field, and then, bam, the biggest turning point arrives. VAR halts the game. The tension skyrockets. The ref points to the spot. Penalty for Switzerland. Abunada gets a yellow card, throwing him under massive pressure, and stepping into that absolute crucible is Breel Embolo, who just calmly slots it home. 1-0 to Switzerland, and that tactical stalemate is completely shattered. Switzerland's attacking threat versus Qatar's defensive resilience. With the deadlock broken, the whole dynamic shifted. Switzerland relentlessly pushed forward. They smelled blood in the water, Breel Embolo brilliantly set up Denis Zakaria for this low, threatening, right-footed shot that was crucially saved. Later, Ruben Vargas pounced on a loose ball in the penalty area with a fierce close-range effort. But Qatar? They answered with desperate sliding blocks and strategic fouls to keep themselves in the mix. They were bending under all that pressure for sure, but they were absolutely not breaking. 2. That number perfectly summarizes the physical tension on the pitch reaching an absolute boiling point. 2 critical yellow cards were issued in quick succession as the intensity just skyrocketed. First, Qatar's Jassim Gabr was booked trying to violently disrupt the Swiss momentum. But hey, the aggression was mutual because soon after, Switzerland's Denis Zakaria was also shown a yellow. The tackles were getting heavier, the margins tighter, and the psychological warfare was literally at its peak. Tactical substitutions, injecting fresh energy. For Qatar, Ahmed Fatih comes on for Ayoub Aloui, Karim Boudiaf for Jassim Gabr, and Ahmed Eladine for Youssef Abdelrazak. For the Swiss, Johan Manzambi replaces Dan Ndoye and Fabian Rieder for Michel Aebischer. Realizing the game was threatening to slip away in that second half, Qatar's head coach Julen Lopetegui initiated this absolute flurry of subs to inject fresh attacking energy into a fatigued squad. And Switzerland? They immediately countered with Manzambi and Rieder to stabilize the midfield. It turned into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse right from the touchlines. The relentless push for a second goal. Even with Qatar's fresh legs, Switzerland maintained this relentless push for a second goal, the goal that would essentially kill the game off. They were finding these really dangerous pockets of space. In one brilliant sequence, Rodriguez found an unmarked Nico Elvedi inside the box. Elvedi struck this powerful left-footed effort directly toward the goal. It looked completely destined for the back of the net, but a vital last-ditch deflection sent the ball away. A massive let-off. That single deflection was basically the only thing keeping Qatar's faint hopes alive. The final roll of the dice. Qatar swaps Mohamed Manai for Asim Madibo and Hassan El Haidoz for Edmilson Jr.
The Swiss bring on Zeki Amdouni for Ruben Vargas, Ardan Jashari for Remo Freuler, and Miro Muham for Ricardo Rodriguez. As the clock bled away, both managers threw literally everything they had left onto the pitch. Qatar shifted into pure desperation mode looking for that equalizer, while Switzerland's subs were all about locking down the midfield, managing possession near the penalty area, and fiercely protecting a very, very fragile one-goal lead. But Qatar refused to break. So the crucial point is, despite Switzerland doing almost everything right, despite edging closer and closer to that final whistle with the lead in hand, Qatar absolutely refused to fold. Instead of dropping their heads, they boldly pushed more and more players forward. They were earning throw-ins in advanced positions, committing completely to the search for a breakthrough. They were just hunting for one single crack in the Swiss armor. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what those frantic final moments looked like. Just look at the sheer desperation in these aerial battles. This was no longer about tactical finesse, guys. It was about pure desire, elevation, and willpower. Deep, deep into the closing stages, Qatar finally found their moment. Homam Ahmed found a tiny pocket of space and delivered an absolutely superb cross deep into the Switzerland penalty area. Boualem Khoukhi rose above the defenders and powered a brilliant header into the net. I mean, the climax of the match was just insane. The execution was flawless. Khoukhi literally hung in the air, overpowered the Swiss defense, and buried the ball. The Swiss players were left completely stunned, just frozen in disbelief, while the Qatari players and their fans erupted into an absolute frenzy. The unstoppable force had finally shattered the unbreakable wall at the very last possible second. 1-1, that was the final score. Moments after that chaotic restart, referee Said Martinez blew the final whistle. What an exhausting, incredibly dramatic battle. We had VAR reviews, a high-pressure penalty, yellow cards, countless physical clashes, and one of the most thrilling last-minute equalizers of the entire tournament, all ending in a deadlock. Switzerland thought they had all 3 points firmly in their pocket after Embolo's penalty, but Boualem Khoukhi's late heroics ensured both teams walked away with a single point. With a single header, the group is blown wide open. Who will capitalize on this dramatic draw? That's the provocative thought I want to leave you with today. Switzerland's missed opportunity to close it out, and Qatar's monumental rescue mission, it completely shifts the calculus of this group. As the 2026 World Cup continues, the reverberations of this exhausting 1-1 draw will absolutely be felt by every single team in the bracket. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we continue to break down the most fascinating stories from the pitch.